The mess of success. You can direct or control luck, but you can move from a game with the loss of success to a game with the better odds. That seems like an obvious trick, and you probably... Oh, what is this for that? Damn. 죄송해요. 어떻게 된 거죠? Is it okay? Okay. That seems like an obvious strategy, and you probably think you already do it. The hard part is figuring out the odds of any given game, and that's harder than it looks. As most adults know, that is exactly the wrong answer. Slot machines are engineered to make everyone but the casino a loser in the long run. But kids don't know that, I presume. They confuse the benefits of persistence, which is drilled into them as kids, with the actual odds of succeeding. If you are reading this book, you're probably an adult or close to it, and you understand the odds of slot machines. If you play them, you probably think of it as a recreation and not investment. But are you equally clear about the odds that rule over the other areas of your life? I didn't feel that I was shrinking from the psychological pressure because I typically perform better in successful situations. That feeling is so strong in me that the only reason it isn't classified as mental illness is that it works more often than you expect. So I wasn't getting psyched out by my losing record, and my strokes were good enough. Why did I lose? Every match against this particular opponent, I would routinely win against players who seemed about the same level as him. My losing streak was a mystery and a dog to me for years. Apparently I had some sort of blind spot about what? How could I learn to see the thing I couldn't see? And if I saw it, would it help me win? Learning the odds in tennis is harder than it looks because so much of it is counterintuitive. Hitting down the line while on the run only feels like it would be easy. The illusions is surprisingly strong. Every time I missed an down the line shot, I was surprised, and no matter how many times in a row I missed the same way, I assumed that I would be able to lock in the shot. If I just tried it a few more times, I was wrong about it for years. The point is that while we all think we know the odds in life, and there's a good chance you have some blind spots, finding those blind spots is ideal. The idea I'm promoting here is that it helps to see world as method and not magic. Who realized I needed help maintaining such an appropriate level of humility, but now I was just mad. If you find yourself in a state of continued failure in your personal or business life, you might be blaming it on a fate or karma or enemy spirits or some other form of magic. When the answer is a simple math, there isn't usually a pattern, but it might be subtle. Don't stop looking just because you don't see the pattern in the first 7 years. The future is truly unpredictable when it comes to your professional and your personal life in 10 years out. The best way to increase your odds of success in a way that might look like luck to others is to systematically become good but not amazing at the types of skills and work well together and are highly useful for just about my job. This is another example in which viewing the world as math, adding skills together, and the non-magic allow you to move from a strategy with the low odds of success into something better. I made a list of skills in which I think every adult should gain a working knowledge. I wouldn't expect you to become master of any, but mastery isn't necessary. Luck has a good chance of finding you. If you become very good in most of those areas, I'll make an case for each one, but here's the preview list. Public speaking, psychology, business, writing, accounting, design, conversation, overcoming Chinese, second language, golf, proper grammar, precision, technology, proper voice technique. So I decided to go and see what it was all about. Public speaking, whose name I inexplicably remember 20 years later. Tony Snow gave the shortest and most persuasive sales pitch I ever have seen. Persuasive sales pitch. Persuasive sales pitch. I'll condense it further here, but this is what it does. Tony Snow was done selling. My fellow employee. Oh my god, that's so. Wandered onto the stage as if he had just won the lottery. His energy and enthusiasm was infectious. He had a nose, so he prowled on stage and owned it. We, the audience, slapped it onto him like in a tail, and then we let him wake us. He was fun, expressive, engaging, and spontaneous. It was the best speech by non-professional I have ever seen. I could tell he loved every second on stage, and yet he had a discipline to keep things grip. He was enjoying himself, he protected, he was clear and concise. He owned us. When it was done, Tony Snow thanked the audience and told us how we could get more information about the course. Tony Snow, magnificent bastard. The focus was on public speaking, but for the reasons that took a long time for it to understand that Carnegie didn't classify the speaking course. I had a broad agenda. Rule 1 wasn't no one would ever criticize or correct it. Only positive reinforcement would be allowed from the instructor or from the other students. I was immediately skeptical. How was I supposed to learn? I didn't know what I was doing wrong. The next rule was that every person would speak the rest of the class during each session, but we had a volunteer to go next. This rule was more important than you might think, because most of the people in the class are very deathly afraid of public speaking. The instructor acknowledged that sometimes the class wouldn't need to sit quietly for long periods and wait for the next volunteer. And we did. For some reason, going first seemed extra bad, even though we all knew we would go eventually. The instructor stood in front of the frozen class and waited patiently, not judging, clearly having gone through this before. Eventually, someone volunteered and then another. Our speaking assignment wasn't something simple. I think we simply had to say something about ourselves. For most people, including me, this wasn't a relatively easy task, but for many in class it wasn't nearly impossible. One young lady who had been forced by an employer to attack in the class was so frightened that she was literally couldn't form words. In the cool, air-conditioned room, beads of sweat ran from her forehead down to her chin, and the drop onto the carpet. Oh my, so impressive. The audience watched it and shared the pain as in better than her own demos and tried to form words. A few words came out just barely, and she returned to her seat, defeated, humiliated, broken. Then an interesting thing happened. I ranked it as one of the most fantastic things I've ever witnessed. The instructor went into the front and looked at the broken student. The room wasn't that silent. I'll always remember his words. He said, "Wow, That was brave. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, it's so. My brain spun in my head. 20 some students in the head taking this woman. I just crashed, and I burned in the most traumatic, humiliating way. She had clearly done the same thing in 4 words. The instructor had completely interpreted the situation. Every one of us didn't know the instructor was right. We had just witnessed an extraordinary act of personal bravery, the lesson of which of the realities there wasn't a takeaway period. I looked at some students' faces and she reacted instruction and a comment. She had been alone in a mystery fighting a losing fight, but somehow the instructor understood what was happening inside her and he responded. I swear I saw it like come into her eyes. She looked at her from the floor. She had reprieved. She wasn't still in the fight. The next week she volunteered to speak again, seeing how powerful and a volunteering thing is. She earned the choice. She didn't do well, but she got through it without any prospering by looking up and an instructor praising her for the progress. Every time we spoke and we got compliments from instructors and sometimes and other students, we got applause. It felt great. Today, when I see stage and 1,000 people waiting to hear me speak, a little recording goes up in my head and it says and today's a good day. I'm the happiest person in the room. The audience only gets to listen, but I get to speak and to feel to fully alive. I will absorb the energy and turn it into something good. And then I'm done. There's a 100% chance that people will say good things about me. There are several things to learn from this story. The most important is transformative power of phrase and versus a corrosive impact of cross criticism. I'm sorry. I'm kind of excited. I've had a number of occasions since then to test and in a parts of phrase, and I find it an amazing force, especially for adults. Children are accustomed to a continuous stream of criticism in a phrase, but a lesson can go weeks and without a compliment, while enduring criticism in both at work and at home. Adults strive for a kind word. When you understand the power of honest phrase and opposed to boosting, flattery, and sucking up, and you realize that in which way broadens immoral. If you see something that impresses you and disrespect and humility insists in a voice you phrase, wow, that was brave. It's the best and clearest example I've ever read in which looking at something in a different way changes everything. When the instructor switched in focus from the student's speaking performance to her bravery, everything changed. Oh my god, it's like, it's so impressive, it's so touching. Positivity is far more than a mental preferences, and it changes your brain literally, and it changes the people around you. It's the near, it's the thing we have magic. Another thing I learned from the kind of experiences is that we don't always have an accurate view of our own potential. I think most people who are frightened of public speaking can imagine they might feel different as a result of a training. Don't assume. You know how much potential we have. Sometimes the only way to know what you can do is to touch yourself. Psychology. Okay, tomorrow we're going to read psychology. I think I feel like I can't read that much today, but it's okay because I should listen the clips of my Grugiayo. That's why. Okay.